industry. We've talked a little bit. I just showed you what one dealership is doing, what we're assisting them do. But what about the impact on the industry overall? It's probably important that we take a quick time out. If this is the wave washing over us that we believe it is, then we need to look at it. People are mobile. That is not it's not a question, are they going mobile? They are mobile, and they're mobile in mass. What's important to note is that car shoppers are mobile, and that gets my attention. That gets the attention of the dealerships that we serve. In fact, this is a great way to look at it. People have moved from window shopping. These are a couple that's shopping for a vehicle in the window of a dealership, and it's moved from this kind of window shopping to this kind of window shopping. This customer's window and most customers' windows these days are right in their pocket. And again, remember, that's a good thing. They're there 24/7. So they can shop online. They can shop when they want to, how they want to. So if they're at work, if they're at the airport terminal, if they're at the hair salon, they can shop for a vehicle or make an appointment to have their vehicle serviced or learn how to do something about some feature of their vehicle that maybe they haven't discovered before. So this is just an incredible opportunity to move people from that plate glass window to the window that's in their pocket, and I think that's exciting. Currently, more than 5 million people, talking about our industry, 5 billion, visit cars.com and autotrader.com each month from their mobile device. So that's it. I don't have this conversation anymore. Are people using the technology? I think that right there, if you weren't on board with me, you probably just got the idea. 5 million people, cars.com, autotrader.com in the United States of America on their mobile devices. And what are they? They spend time online. We know that. We know they spend time online. New vehicle buyers, it's about 11 and a half hours. Used vehicle buyers, about the same, about 11 hours. So my question to you, and my question to all the dealers that I come in contact with, is how could you make that easier? How could you make that more accessible? How can we make that more fun? We need to be where dealers or where customers need us to be, when they need us there, where they need us, and how they want it, how they want information served up. We've got to get on their terms. If they're on break at work, I've seen people texting in meetings. You all have too in your dealerships. The idea that people are texting or maybe even browsing while they're in a meeting, I don't think it's the most productive thing to do in a meeting, but it's reality. At the school bus stop, a young person thinking about getting their first car, and they're looking at used vehicles or new vehicles, and they're doing that. They are not on a PC. They're not on a PC. They probably may not even, or very likely don't own one. Maybe a tablet, but they're on a smartphone in all likelihood. I was at the airport recently, and I saw 12 young people rode up on a row of chairs. They're all side by side. These are good-looking kids. They're obviously, they all have their phones out so that they have some means, but they're sitting there and they're all texting. And I guarantee you that one of them is texting another one or two on that same bench instead of talking to them directly. And how do I know that? Because I would see one text and two of them laugh and then text back, and the person that sent the text laughed. And I've got to tell you, that even occurred to me recently in a meeting where two people texted and had a reaction, a response, and I asked them, I said, you didn't just text him? And the answer was, well, yes, we did. We're sorry. But it was about something coming up that they needed to know. So it was okay. But let's understand, we need to make this much time. If they're spending this much time before they come to us, we need to get in the picture early on, and we need to make it easy. Currently, 10% of all Cobalt dealerships traffic is coming from mobile, 10%, and it's growing monthly. This is not a statistic they're waiting to do on an annual basis. This is growing monthly. Talk to your Cobalt rep. If you have Cobalt as a vendor, talk to them. Talk to any vendor you have. Find out what their statistics are in terms of mobile traffic, because they are tracking it. And if they're not, you may need another vendor, because this is where people are going. So, the number of people, the percentage that have used a a smartphone. Now this is just smartphones. I'm not talking about tablets here. These are the statistics for 2010, 17%, okay? 2011, 24%, jumped up. 2012, jumped up to about a third, almost a third. Do you see the direction here? This is not a casual graph. So that's people using smartphones to shop for automotive needs. And so that's how they're getting on the web and doing that shopping. So again, the industry gets it. There are so many apps out there. There are apps that do everything, you know, from eBay, mobile app where you can shop for a car, cars.com, Auto Trader. You know, there's a ton of them. You can see it here. KBB has an app, apps that scan QR codes, links to websites. The two you may not know here, Hootsuite, that is a mobile media tracking site, and ChargePoint, this one, is an app that actually helps people locate an EV charging station for their electric vehicle. So there are a lot of apps already out there in the industry. Now, here's my question. Which one of these do you really care about? I can tell you for my dealers, I care about one, and that's their dealer app. Because if we're going to be in this space and we're going to be driving customers to exchange information and to use something to make their automotive experience easier, more fun, more engaging, I want my brand on that as a dealership. So that's the conversation we're having, and that's what we're working really hard on right now with just about every dealership that we serve. So, are you social? We talked about it a few minutes ago. You know, what's your reputation? We're all thinking about that now. There's a lot of interest being placed on it, particularly with Yelp and with Google, with General Motors. That's the reputation management piece. That's where they're driving customers, no matter what vendor you have. I know that's new, and you're kind of probably just getting your arms around it. Many of you are just launching. Irregardless, the idea is that we're trying to drive people to make those favorable, positive comments and post those reviews, because right now we can always count on the upset customer, the very few that we have. We can count on them to post a review. Why is that important? This is the statistic of the day right here. If you're thinking about reputation management and whether that's worthwhile to you or not, we can talk all day long about how we're doing it, you know. But should we be doing it? 68% of the car shoppers that look at Yelp and they're looking at reviews state clearly that those reviews sway their purchase decision. The purchase decision about what dealership to buy from, new or pre-owned, the purchase decision where to get their vehicle serviced, the purchase decision about even buying parts. So 66%, the critical mass. That's a tipping point. That's the majority of customers that say that it sways their decision. So as a result, we need to have some positive reviews out there that are telling the true story, the full story about our dealership. And by the way, before we leave, 40% of that traffic is coming off of mobile devices. So 40% of the traffic to Yelp comes from mobile devices. Next year, this is going to be an interesting pie chart. I pretty much assure you that it's going to exceed anything that we had imagined in terms of technology changing quickly and taking over in terms of space and communication. So what do you need to do to that to respond? Well, I think like with Covert Hutto, the idea of customers being able to post a review right out of the app, go straight to Yelp, post a review, no waiting to get to a computer, which, by the way, they may not even own. But being able to do that, being able to get to the Facebook page and post a comment, like the dealership, we need to make it easy. The manufacturers get this. How about that Super Bowl this year? Pretty exciting game in the end. But this is from the Super Bowl in 2012, so it's last year's Super Bowl. Chevrolet did the same thing. This was right out of the Geico playbook. They ran an offer, an ad, and you know how much Super Bowl ads are. They ran ads to get people to download the app, the Chevy Super Bowl app, and what they could do when they did that was they could download the app, they could play along, they could view links about featured sites, videos, vehicles. They could do a lot of things during the breaks in the game or during the game, and it was huge. Don't be deceived by this number of downloads, 879. That was in early development. So this is typical. If you went onto the Covert, if we were looking at their app today, you would see that that app that's not even live has been downloaded about 100 times. That's because we're in development and we are constantly looking at it and tweaking it. This thing was up into the millions once it finally launched. So a big thing. People playing along, looking at Chevy while they looked at the Super Bowl. Okay, so how are people using mobile? This is an interesting note. I actually wanted to make sure that we ended this section with this because a lot of people are saying, well, what are people doing? You know, what is it they're doing when we say, you know, they're using mobile? It's interesting because if you look at it, the biggest thing they're doing is they're looking at price. The next biggest thing is inventory, what's available. And they're looking at things that might need features that might meet their specific needs, and then features here. So they're looking at ways that they could use their vehicle, what kinds of vehicle out there. This is very similar to what they do on a website, but they're doing it in the palm of their hand. They're doing it in two hands as they look at a tablet or sitting on a bus or in a car or a plane, you know, wherever they're using their mobile technology. This is what they're doing. And I think we're going to see more and more of this, but this is a statistics about how people are using mobile, and we'll be able to fine-tune our efforts.